Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been listening to the Paul Rivera Podcast, you've never heard that intro before, but I am that excited about this episode. We have none other than the entrepreneur, the visionary, the executive. None of that shit really matters. My best friend, Maverick Carter, on this show. I'm so excited. We talk everything from his vision to building a company. We talk about him managing LeBron James. We talk about what advice he'd give to young people trying to start their own business. And we talk about basically how he thinks I'm the smartest thing he's ever met. And yeah, just enjoy the show. Peace. Maverick Carter.
Thank you for having me on, sir.
Long overdue. Long overdue. What's good, brother? How you feeling?
Like all Mondays, I feel great. Weekend's over, back at work, back in the saddle.
You have the same sickness I have. Like, if you have too much time off, you get antsy. I look forward to Mondays.
Yeah, I like Monday. I'm not people dread Mondays. I like Mondays. I mean, I guess it's a big part of what you do. If you love what you do and love to do it, then you look forward to Mondays, even though it's hard, it's challenging, there's issues, people are pissed, you get pissed, all that comes with it. But, if you're lucky enough to be doing the job you want to do, it's what you signed up for and what you dreamed about, like me, then I look forward to Mondays.
It's funny. It's like, if there aren't enough problems, you're probably not dreaming big enough or have a big enough job, right? Like, fair to say? Like, if it's all easy and there's no challenges?
Yeah, if there's no challenges, then you've probably been doing the same thing too long. Mm-hmm. It's probably time to change it up. But I would say also, that's actually my sickness is the idea that I always talk about. When you win, it just gives you an opportunity to win on a bigger level, a bigger stage. And I love that feeling, I love the feeling of winning, but I love the feeling of, okay, now I get a chance to play on a bigger stage, prove myself even more, one more time, even better. And you always are like, as an entrepreneur, I'm always like, okay, if I do this one, I'm going to take a year off. I'm going to take 6 months off. This is the accomplishment I want. Because as an entrepreneur, you realize, yes, you want to build a great company. Yes, you want to make money, but that's not number one. The number one thing you want to do is you want to have an accomplishment of building something amazing and building something that people love to be a part of, building an amazing team that you're a part of, and you're chasing those accomplishments of accomplishing those things. And not accomplishments in the sense of awards, but accomplishments of actually building things that matter. And when you're chasing those, once you do one, it just gives you an opportunity to do another one. And sometimes I do tell myself, like, okay, I do this one, I'm just gonna stick it out here. But I'm addicted to it. I can't help it.
I don't know. Before we really get into it, I don't know if you remember this. We were in China for the LeBron Nike tour. You weren't 30 yet, right? This was like, and it was me, you, Randy, and Lynn Merritt. We were like in the lobby of a hotel, and Bron was upstairs getting some rest. And we were having a glass of wine or whatever, and you made the comment to Lynn, half jokingly, shout out to Lynn Merritt, the general. You said, you know what, fellas? Bron's going to win his first championship soon. It's been a great run. I'm going to retire. I'm not doing this anymore. And I almost feel like you don't talk the retirement word anymore, but you keep talking to, like, I'm going to take a year off. Like, as soon as I do this thing, I'm going to take the year off. I don't think you'll ever take the year off. I don't think you'll ever retire.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, it's hard for me to take 5 days off. So
I've been on vacation with you. Like, there's no such thing as...
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever... I'm definitely far away from it. I don't even talk about retirement. I do sometimes say, well, I'd like a vacation or a break. But
even your
really, what I'm
vacations-
saying is, I just want two consecutive nights of good sleep. That's a vacation for me.
Something most people or anyone who hasn't had the pleasure of working with you, something they don't know is how many times have you ever had an out of office email on your email reply? You know, I'm talking about like when you go on vacation or you're out, you say, hey, I'm unavailable, contact such and such until I'm back. How many times have you had that?
Never.
Never in your life.
Never.
You've taken vacations, you've traveled, why is that so important? You actually, not only have you not had it, you don't like it. That's why I'm asking you for a specific reason.
Yeah, I personally don't like it for myself. I understand why people do it, because you do need a break. You do need to unplug and disconnect. So that really sends the message to the people you work with, both internally and externally, that, hey, I've unplugged, I'm taking a little break. Do me a courtesy and give me a break.
Yeah.
So you're really sending that message. I just have always thought, for me in my job, especially at the beginning, when I first left Nike, of managing talent, you're never really off. Mm-hmm. You can't be. I can't be off. If LeBron calls me at some, if he got an out of office reply from me, secondly, I don't even know what my office. I don't really have an office anymore, so I'm never out of.
You are the office.
I'm perpetually out of the office.
Mm-hmm.
We work together. My office is. I don't have. It's a room,
mm-hmm.
but when I'm not there, it's a conference room. If I'm there and people need it, I leave.
Yep.
I go sit in the lobby or something. So I'm kind of always out of the office now that we have, and with the invention of portable email devices, you always are available. Not to say I don't get behind on emails, but that just means I'm behind. I'll get to them. Sometimes if I'm away, I'll just take longer breaks in between doing emails. But I just don't understand the point of saying I'm out of the office when you're kind of never not these days, mm-hmm. or it just may take you a day or two longer. Some people write that now, which I like better. I don't mind that. Like, I'm away.
Please forgive me for my delay.
It may take me 2 or 3 days to get back to you.
Yeah.
Because I'm away.
Yeah. So you referenced the beginning. I want to go back to the beginning for a little bit. You were, and it's been well documented, but there's a certain thing I want to ask you about. You were 23 years old when LeBron hands you the keys and says, I want you to manage me?
Well, you're taking me back now. I was 23.
23 years old, right? People thought he was absolutely out of his fucking mind, right? What was the famous quote? Do you remember it? I know you had.
This is like LeBron needing knee surgery and hiring his plumber.
What did you think back then? Did it piss you off? Was it funny? Did you take it as a chip on your shoulder?
Back then, I thought the comment was clever and funny. Mm-hmm. I can appreciate comedy even if it's about me. But it also was very motivating. It was a bit degrading, but
of course,
but not totally degrading, in the sense that the truth was I had no experience. I had no degree of any sort, let alone business or anything specific. And I had my resume didn't say that I should be the one doing that job. But there's a way to say things and a way not. I think, it was said by a radio announcer who's part of the radio announcer's job is to entertain. I thought it was a very entertaining quote. I thought it was a bit degrading because there was another way to just say, hey, this is LeBron hiring someone with no experience. That was the gist of it. But me personally, I took it as like not even so motivation, more like this is another accomplishment that I need to have, is to have people not feel that way about who I am. And that's going to take work and put in the time and effort to change how people felt about that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember this. I think I asked you maybe like 5 years ago or something. I asked you about that exact time period in your career. And I said, looking back on it, were you ready for that? And you said, hell no, right? But I think one of the things you were extremely smart about was most people run from that fear, right? Like, I'm not ready, so I don't want to be exposed and I'm not ready. You leaned into it and were like, let me surround myself with people that can A, help me get ready, and B, even more importantly, support my guy. That's my job to do, to put the best people around him and not be secure in yourself and bringing talented people around LeBron. What was your thought process at 23 and surrounding yourself, and even more importantly, LeBron, with the best people possible?
Yeah, well, I still do that. I mean, it's the reason you and I work together. It's the reason, all the people who work around us. Honestly, it's because I'm very sure in what I know. Most importantly, I'm sure in what I don't know. And I know I need to bring in people to do the things I don't know. And selfishly, which, as I always talk about, I think selfish gets a bad rap. Selfishly, the fields or the expertise that I don't have or don't know, I want to bring in people who know those fields and expertise so I could just get the knowledge from them and learn. Mm-hmm. So there's no better way to learn from someone than if you're paying them and they work with you and they're your partners. So at that time, brought in great lawyers, great accountants, and learned from them. I learned from them as much as they were helping me, helping LeBron, helping the company we were building. I was selfishly learning from them because I knew I had a long career ahead of me. So now things I learned that first year or two with partners that we brought in on the legal side and finance side, I use those skills still to this day because I didn't learn at Harvard or Yale or Michigan or Princeton or Stanford or some fantastic school. So that's how I learned selfishly, is just bringing in people who did go to those places and got expertise in those fields and just ask them every question I could and watch them go through the meetings and help the company that I was building and help LeBron and myself. And I was able to learn from them.
Where's that come from? I've had the pleasure of meeting both your parents. Shout out to them if they're listening to this episode. Spending time with them. Where, and I'm assuming maybe it comes from them, from your upbringing, but I'd love to hear from you. Where's that come from? I've been in meetings with you in very, very big rooms, very successful, powerful people, and they'll be going through their spiel, and you have no problem stopping them and saying you don't understand something. Most people will fake it till they make it like that they understand, or will try to figure it out later. Where's that confidence come from for you? Have you always been like that, where if you don't understand something, you have no problem being like, hey, I don't understand that. Can you teach me that or break it down for me?
I think at the beginning it came from just honestly being curious/nosy, which is probably an attribute that comes from my grandmother and my dad, as I've talked about several times, just the most curious, nosy people. Meet you today, never met you from Adam, and those, who's your mom? Where are you from? How'd you meet Maverick? Just start asking you every question that you deem, whoa, this is a lot for a person I just met 10 minutes ago or not. And then on the second level is I had to, again, because I had no overly formal education past my freshman year in college when I stopped going. So I had to learn somehow. I knew that, there's two ways to do it. I could either read a bunch of books, or when I'm with people who've actually lived it and experienced the things that I want to do, ask them questions about words they're saying, how they're thinking about things they've done. And then three, so my confidence comes from that. I'm naturally curious, and I have to learn this shit. I have two options: either learn it or fail. So why not ask the question and learn it? The other alternative is fail. Well, there's an alternative of reading a book, and I've read a lot of books, but you need both. And there was not enough books in the world and not enough time in a day for me to get up to speed to where the job I had taken and been placed into to be ready for that. And B, and C, the last thing is, the truth is, what you've learned very quickly is nobody knows the shit up. Like, somebody will say something, a word or something specific, and I'm not one to ask the question, but everybody in the room's like, gosh, thank God he asked that. Otherwise, I was going to walk out of this room and not know anything that they were talking about. So you quickly realize that I'm not the only idiot in the room. There's other people who don't know this shit either, and sometimes there are people who've studied it, they just haven't had the experience or been exposed to it. So you quickly realize everybody was thinking the same thing you are, and you have that confidence. And then, truthfully, confidence comes with accomplishments. I've been able to do some things in my career that have allowed me to be very confident that, hey, I may not know this, but I've done these other things. Mm-hmm. So it's a combination of all those things, just the innate ability and instinct to be curious, the kind of sink or swim.
Of course.
You got to sink or swim, so you better learn it somehow. And then the confidence of knowing there's a great chance I'm not the only person in this room who doesn't understand what this person is explaining. So I'm just going to be the one that asks.
Right. You've mentioned the word a couple times now. It's a great transition to the next question I had for you. Being curious. I've heard you say numerous times that that's your greatest skill. Right. Talk about that a little bit.
I would say when you're curious, when you're really, truly curious, that's what learning is, right? What learning and getting an understanding is rooted in curiosity of wanting to understand how something was actually put together and thought about and how things come together. And if you really, truly want to understand that, then you start to gain a knowledge base of how almost all things work, because all things have a thread of how they're put together and why they're tied together and why things work and don't work. And that curiosity is very important for anyone who wants to advance their knowledge base and wants to advance what they're doing at work or otherwise. You have to want to understand it. A lot of people say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. A lot of people tell you they want to be a director but can't tell you the difference in all the jobs on the set. Like, you have to really be curious to not only want to know the jobs, but why all those jobs exist and who are those jobs and what type of people take those jobs and why do those people get those jobs. And, you can go really deep on a lot of subjects that'll take you back to like the beginning of time. And I think that skill set of just naturally being curious or forcing yourself to be curious is extremely important, because that is the root of all understanding and knowledge, is to want to understand how it works or how it's put together.
Whenever anyone asks me, like, what makes Mav special? What's his secret sauce? What's he do? And it's not, the questions always come from they're really interested in what makes you who you are. I always give the same answer. I say, go back to 23-year-old Maverick Carter. And I want to paint a little bit of a picture. I don't know the numbers, but I don't need to. When LeBron hired you to manage him, it's safe to say at that point in your time, you're making more money than you ever made in your life, right? It's all relative, whether it was a ton, a little, but more than you'd made at that moment.
Not even close. More than I ever dreamed of making it. And I could tell you it was $60,000 a year. So it was more than I ever thought I'd ever make in my whole life, more than anyone in my family had ever made. Let me think about this. Maybe my uncle gets close to that, but more than I ever made, more than I ever thought I would make.
So that's perfect. So you're 23 years old. You're making more money than you thought you'd ever make. You're managing your best friend, your childhood best friend. You're kind of living the dream where, you're doing something you love to do. Most 23-year-olds in that situation, they put their feet up and they say, I made it. And they ride that wave, right? You, and this is what I think makes you a unicorn and unique from almost everyone else in the field, is at 23, your wheels start turning thinking, okay, cool, I'm in the door now. What more can we do, right? How's a 23-year-old Maverick Carter even start thinking that it's not that I made it, it's like, oh, I'm just getting started and now I have a real opportunity? Because you and I have had these conversations to this date, last week probably, that each win just allows us the opportunity to perform on a bigger stage. How the fuck are you thinking that at 23 years old?
I think it was driven by the need, the literal need, like a drug addict, for accomplishment. And at that point, I had parallel things I wanted to accomplish. Most importantly, wanted to set LeBron up to do things different than anyone had ever seen done by a person in his situation, an athlete in his situation. I really wanted that really bad, and I really wanted to. It wasn't about like changing, there's a lot of conversation now, changing basketball or challenging the status quo. It wasn't really about that. It was really more so, how can we think about the platform that LeBron had built for himself to leverage that for himself? Because that's what business is about, right? When you're in business and life, but mostly business, you need a platform. Everybody needs a platform to leverage. That platform could be a league, a team, a business, a company, whatever it is. He had built the platform and was playing NBA basketball. So how can we leverage that in a different way than anyone ever seen an athlete or a person in his position do? I was driven by that. I wanted to accomplish that. And selfishly, I wanted to be seen as more than just LeBron's friend. I mean, every time I read an article and it say LeBron's friend, LeBron's friends, he's managed by his friends. Like, I was scared to death that I would die, and that's who I would be. Like, I was just driven to I couldn't be that my whole life as just LeBron's friend. I wanted to be LeBron's business partner, the guy who helped LeBron do some amazing things. It literally scared me to death to think, like, is that what my obituary is going to say? Like, will my obituary just say, here lies LeBron's friend? So I was selfishly driven by that accomplishment to just simply in articles, I'd be explained as a different person than just that. And that's hard to do because LeBron is one of the most amazing and most famous people the world's ever seen. So that I was driven to change that. That was one of the accomplishments I wanted selfishly.
So fast forwarding, Uninterrupted, right? I think it's well documented how Uninterrupted came about. I'd love your thoughts on why you wanted to create Uninterrupted and what your goals were for it then at the moment in which you started it.
I thought it needed to exist. That's a great question because, when you start shit, it's like you do have to take that moment and go, why the hell does the world need this?
Another thing, right? Another company, another
zillion of everything.
Yeah.
Why do we really need another this, whatever this is? So I really thought it needed to exist because I definitely thought there needed to be a company, a platform that stood for the athletes telling stories that really mattered to them in a way that they wanted to, and it needed to have some curation and some professionalism put around it, meaning they could do it on their own Twitter or their own social feeds with their iPhone, and that's cool too, that's great, but how do we up it a bit and really build a place, a studio, a company that stood for this? And started off just getting iPhone videos from athletes and distributing them on Bleacher Report, and quickly really found our footing when we landed on, our version of Just Do It, which is I'm more than an athlete or more than an athlete. And at that moment, we realized that what we were building was even more important than what we imagined, and it stood for something that we didn't know how big of a void was there against what we were creating, and we really found our footing. But at the moment, it was just like, how do we build a place where athletes can share their voice the way they want to and get it distributed to the world? That's all it was really about. It was really about, having conversations with LeBron and other athletes about their voice getting chopped up and what they said being taken this way or that way, and how do we really build a place or a company where it won't happen that way.
So I remember being there. When you first walked me through your vision for Uninterrupted, it was on a napkin, right? You're like, hey, I want it to be this and whatnot. And what I can say now confidently is you didn't have it all figured out, right? You had a seed of an idea, right? You were passionate and had a vision. You figured out, as you just said, why this was necessary, right? Or what good it could add. We have a lot of young listeners, young entrepreneurs, viewers. Talk a little bit about that. I think we live in a generation where everyone figures like, I have to have this all figured out. I have to have a business plan. I have to know what the end goal is. I need to know all of this thing. Talk about that. You've never been afraid to fail. It's like, hey, I'm going to start this thing and we'll figure some of it out as we go along. Like, talk about your point of view on that.
Yeah, I think you have to have most importantly, the reason why. If you have the reason why should we exist as a company? Why? If it's just, I just need to make some money, you might be able to build something. You might even be able to build something great, but it won't really ever connect in a meaningful way. Where you may make money, but it won't really connect how you want it to connect or how it could. But if you start with why are we doing this? What is the reason this needs to exist? And you keep that as your North Star, that keep shooting for why we need to exist. The rest you have to figure out as you go, because of the world dictates a lot of things. The world dictates technologies that come about. The world changes in the market, changes in your situation, changes in people that work with you. But if you can keep why you need to exist, why are we existing, or whatever, you're going to start a restaurant, but why? Does this city you're in really need another restaurant, another pizza place, another barbecue place? Does it?
By the way, there's never enough pizza places, but
yes, exactly. Well, in New York City, of course not. But if you can really keep why front and center and never let the business start leading it, meaning never go, okay, this is why we need to exist. This is why we exist. But we need to make numbers.
Right.
We need to get to 1 million sales. We need to hit our numbers this quarter. So we got to go this way. No. Why do you exist? That has to lead. And the minute that doesn't lead, then you're fucked. But if that always leads, everything else you're going to have to figure out as you go. When Steve Jobs started Apple, he didn't think he'd be selling phones, right? He started as a computer company. Then he became an MP3 company. Then he became Then he became a music company, then a phone company. So the why do we exist? But at the end, they still exist for the same reason. He thought and really believed they needed to exist to create a better computer and a better operating system. And then he just carried that through to the MP3. They made a better MP3 player with a better operating system. They made a better phone with a better operating system, always pushing the boundaries of design and making it simpler and better for humans.
Yeah, he didn't spend 2 years on a business plan figuring the end game out, right?
And the idea he had, he got fired at the beginning. But he always kept, when he got back there, he still had the same why. This is why this company needs to exist. They tried to chase the business and the numbers, and they lost track of why it needs to exist. You look at Nike, they always existed to create better products for athletes and create, now that extends to better experiences for athletes through Nike Run Club and this and that and sneakers. But all of the products are rooted in still, even if they're like now nostalgic and retro products, and a lot of us wear Nikes and aren't going anywhere near a football field or a basketball court or track or anything like that. We're just rocking the shit because it's fresh. That product was built to actually build a better product for athletes. Now it might be re-engineered with different materials and things like that. So you have to keep that why at the center and know that it is literally impossible to know exactly what's going to happen today and the next day and a month from now. But why you need to exist should always be there.
So I like to give, again, our listeners like tidbits they could go and run with as they're trying to build their thing and figure out their why. One thing you've taught me, I don't know if I've ever said this, but one thing you've taught me is...
No, according to you, I didn't know I ever taught you anything. This is the first time you're sharing.
I was saving it for my show.
Thank you. That's what this has been about. Okay.
Nah.
So do you have a list?
Just one thing. No, like you taught me the importance of partnerships, right? Partnerships in the sense of the right brands, right people, but even look, I think as a people, especially black and brown people, we've been brought up thinking we need to own everything, right? Like that's the I can't put Mav on because if I put Mav on, that dims my light, right? I need to do my own thing. And you've taught me if someone can add to what we're trying to build, the greater cause of it, you need to bring people on, right? Even if that means you own a little less, right? And I got to give props out to a friend of both of ours, Rob Stone. He once told me a long time ago, it's better to own 10% of something potentially really big than 100% of something really small. Like, where'd that come from for you, like your philosophy on just partnerships as you're building something?
Yeah. I think a little bit of it is innate, and always being able to see things from 50 or 100,000 feet and really focusing on what's the majors and not, as they say, majoring in the minors. Some people get stuck in the small shit, the minors. And when I was a senior in high school, a little story, I had a coach, Coach Keith Dambrot, who's still coaching now at Duquesne University in college. Fantastic basketball coach. The truth is, he was too good of a coach to be coaching high school. We just got lucky.
Even back then?
100%. The only reason why he was coaching high school is because he had been out of coaching for 5 years because he got thrown out of the NCAA. He got thrown out of the NCAA and wasn't allowed to coach there, and then got blackballed a little bit and couldn't get back in, but always loved the game and always wanted to get back in coaching hoops. And but at the time he was trading, he was a stock trader, and then he got this job at our school. I always tell people it's funny. Our team was made up of mostly African-American kids at an Irish Catholic school, and our coach was Jewish. So it was the perfect mix. It worked beautifully.
Of course it had to work.
Our school is literally called, our mascot is the Fighting Irish, just like Notre Dame. And most of the players on our basketball team were African-American kids like me who had never been to a Catholic church. And our coach came in, and he was a Jewish guy, but he was awesome. And he's an awesome college coach. He's turned around programs again in college since he got back in. But my senior year, I had been at the school, played all 4 years there. As a freshman, I was a sixth man. And then I started sophomore year, junior year, senior year. And when I went in as a freshman, there were 3 guys older than me who were sophomores, but they were really good. 2 of which are Derek and Darren, the twins.
A lot of buckets between those twins.
A lot of arguments, a lot of buckets, a lot of agony, a lot of good times.
Shout out to the twins, man.
A lot of bullshit. But they were a year older than me. So I was kind of always waiting my turn. As a freshman, again, I was sixth man. Really good, recognized as one of the better freshmen in the city and in the state. But I was a sixth man. Sophomore, started, but it wasn't my team. They were juniors at that time. So it was kind of their team, and they had waited their turn. Those 3, 2 of them had started as freshmen, and one was like the 7th man as freshman. By the time they were juniors, it was their team. And then when I was a junior, the twins actually transferred out, but one of them stayed. And then my senior year was really my time. Like, you know what I mean?
I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, and preseason, I was the guy on the front page of the paper in Akron. There was an article about me and blah, 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 blah. I've been waiting for that type of everybody.
Of course, yeah.
Everybody's selfish. Are you waiting for that type of shine? Like, fuck, this is it for me. And my coach, early in the year, and I think he realized I got the message really quick, he explained to me the whole idea of a high tide raising all ships. And what he stressed is if we do good and we win, you're obviously going to be a part of it. We can't do good and win if you're not a part of it. we need you, but it may not be you may not score all the points every night. You may not do this, but you need to be a key figure in us winning. I think we can win, and if we win, there will be a high tide, and you'll get everything that you deserve. He stressed this to me early in the year. I think just he wanted to make sure two things, that my head was in the right place because he thought we had a chance to be good, and also because we have 4 freshmen come on the team who were all capable and did play varsity basketball. One happened to be Mr. LeBron James. And
so your senior year, LeBron's a freshman, right?
Yeah. So I really grasped that, and Coach made me believe that. He instilled that in me at a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old senior in high school. And it doesn't always work out, but that one worked out for me. And he was right. I did not lead the team in scoring. LeBron led the team in scoring. And we had another kid who transferred in, Ali Samabali, who was second in the team in scoring. We were all very close. It was like LeBron was like 19, Ali was like 17, I was like 16. I was third on the team in scoring.
Your senior year.
My senior year. I was the only senior on the team.
Wow.
I was the only senior on I'm sorry, there was one other senior, but he didn't play. I was the only senior who played. I started, I played the most minutes, I was the captain, but I was third in scoring, probably second in rebounds, and probably second assists. But we went 27-0, won the state championship, finished 19th ranked team in the country. I was player of the year in the state and got a Division I scholarship. So I tell that story to say that is the first time I vividly remember someone explaining to me that a high tide raises all ships. If you win and you're a part of a winning thing, it will work out if you're good. And Coach was telling me, I know you're good. You are good. So we can't be great without you.
Yeah, we need you.
But it just might not be you every night.
It might not be your vision.
You might not end up on the front of the paper after every game, but we definitely need you. Without you, we can't be good. Mm-hmm. So if we're good, you're going to get your just due.
You're going to get your due, yep.
Whatever is due to you. And I think in life and in business, you start to quickly realize, okay, if I'm a part of something that I'm a key member of, and that thing wins, that business wins, that goes the distance, and I'm a part of it, I'm going to get my just due for being a part of it. You know, everybody always thinks they're due more.
Of course.
That's
just natural.
And that's natural, and that's fine. But you're going to get your just due. But more importantly, even if you don't get all the money you deserve because of that business or all the credit you deserve of that business, as I say, that sets you up for the next thing. Mm-hmm. Now you can leapfrog. Oh, I was the CMO of this business that grew to a $5 billion business. CEO, the board, investors made more money than me, but now I can go take the next job because I was on that winning team.
Right.
I was on the winning team that won in a major way. So now it sets me up to go do the next thing. And if you're good and if you're great and you really know that, then you're okay with it. If you're not, if you have some insecurity about your skill set, your talent, it's going to be hard to grasp that concept of bringing people in and partnering with people and being a part of a great team. But if you're fine with who you are, I'll be the assistant at this company. Mm-hmm. But that's on my resume forever. That works. That I can now trade on that, especially if you're, I mean, I doubt anyone would think that way at 70, but, you know, that's a different thing. If you're a young person, you want to be a part of a winner. A, because you learn a lot,
of course,
from being on that winner. And B, you get the credit. You know, I mean, we interview people all the time that are like, especially at the agency level, everybody worked on everything. That was great.
I did that.
Everything anything that was great, everybody worked on it. So
they did it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. They should take credit for that. But when I was 18, my high school coach, he explained that concept of a high tide raising all ships. And, you know, I played basketball since I was very little. And I was a good player, played Division I basketball. But I was never... I'm trying to think. I'm actually thinking about this. Maybe when I was little, but as like a high school player, maybe my junior year in high school, that 1 year, and as a college player, I was never the best player on the team, but I knew how to win and wanted to win. Mm-hmm. I wanted to get mine too. I wanted to score and get buckets. and fucking celebrate after the game and talk to the pretty girls after the game and do all that and be recognized and have articles and put together a scrapbook. But I also wanted to really win and be a part of a winner. And I really grasped that through playing basketball, that, hey, it's not always going to be about me if you want to win. But if you're on a winner, it works. You really do get all the just due, the credit, the money, whatever is coming to you, being a part of that. But Coach Dambrot really brought it home for me as a senior.
So I didn't plan on asking you this question, and as the wine now is flowing and you brought it up, playing with LeBron your senior year, LeBron's a freshman, you got to give me a LeBron high school story. Whether it's high school, whether it's the season you guys played together, you got to give me one story.
There's a lot of tidbits. Like, he started his freshman year, he was probably 5'11".
LeBron was 5'11" his freshman year?
Maybe 6 foot at the beginning. He could dunk, but not really. By the time we played the state championship in March, he was 6'3 and a half, 6'4", dunking with two hands, doing any dunk you want to see. So he grew so fast that his mom didn't have enough money. We live in Ohio because during basketball season, it's fucking freezing cold.
The Hawk
is out. And he was growing so fast that his mom couldn't keep up with the length of his arms and winter coats. So for about 3 months, he came to school with a winter coat on that was about midway up his forearm. His wrists must have been freezing. His wrists were totally exposed to
the elements.
Old man winter for about 3 months. But he was growing so fast, his mom, she'd buy a coat, and a month later, it was too... So she was like, "You just got to rock that."
Spent the coat money.
You got to rock that shit out.
Ride this out.
You got to ride this out, baby. Yeah, you got to get you some longer mittens or something. But no, so he grew fast. There's a lot. I mean, he was terrible on defense. I mean, horrible on defense. He used to guard anybody who knows basketball. When you deny, it's a very simple term called ball you man.
Of course.
I mean, you stand between you
learned that in
and the ball.
6th grade.
Yeah, he knew that, but he had an unorthodox style. He would stand on the other side of the offensive player, like leaving him wide open to the bucket.
Back door. Yeah.
But he believed he was so quick he could, like Deion Sanders, recover and get the steal. But he was awesome on anticipation and passing lanes. He was awesome at it. And we pressed basically the whole game. I always tell people in high school, if LeBron was here, he verified this. We had more defensive plays than offensive plays. We didn't really run any offense. Our coach relied on us just to be smart. We ran this thing called spread, which is basically 4 out, 1 in, and whoever thought they had an advantage on the post could go in from the point guard to any position. And then the inbounded, we just ran flat and got it in, and then we just played offense. But on fucking defense, you can forget about it. Coach Dambrot, we had, as a high school team, 35 defensive sets.
Oh, wow. I
mean, we'd run diamond press, diamond with no trap, diamond trap them out over half court. Then we run a 2-2-1. 2-2-1, the trap comes from the middle. 2-2-1 blitz, 21 with a blitz, 21 with a soft blitz, 21 no blitz. That was all defensive plays. Wow. Diamond, no trap. Fist, which is man-to-man, half court. 100 fist, full court, man-to-man. 100 fist 2, which means...
Me out. You still remember the plays, by the way.
Of course. 100 fist 2 means the guy guarding the ball on the second turn, you trap.
Yep.
So the ball goes up the left side, he turns him. Yep. Go up the right, he turns him again. Then whoever's the man behind comes.
Yeah.
Then we run double fist, which is half court, trap in the half court. So we had defensive play after defensive play after defensive play. And our defense relied on, it was a lot of formations, and it changed just to give, for a high school team, they never know what the hell was. We would press after misses sometimes. We could press after a missed free throw, but LeBron was amazing. Our defense always relied on 2 things. Coach always called it 2 on the ball, which means 2 guys trapping the ball, 2 interceptors. So the next 2 are basically playing free safety and strong safety, and 1 protector. So 2 trappers, 2 interceptors, 1 protector. Yep. No matter what we started, it always ended with 2 guys trapping, 2 interceptors, and 1 protector. And LeBron was the best interceptor the game of basketball has probably ever seen. Right up there with Allen Iverson,
Oh, wow.
Michael Jordan. As a freshman, he could just anticipate, and he loved paying the passing lane because he got buckets that way too, because he get to steal and go lay it up. But he was horrible on defense otherwise.
When did you realize, and this can be a short answer, when did you realize, I don't use this word often, when did you realize he was special or had the chance to be special?
It depends on how you define special, right? Because special for LeBron James means he's going on to be, maybe the greatest player to ever play and still playing. So when did I realize special, as I would define it, as like, we're from Akron, so like special is like, oh, he's going to be a high major basketball player, like play at Duke or Kentucky or Ohio State or wherever he chooses, or Cincinnati. Probably midway through his, not even midway, a month or two into his freshman year, you were like, oh, he's definitely, one of those guys, McDonald All-American type guys. He's going to develop into that. When he was a sophomore, you were like, oh, no, he's never playing college. And then...
So sophomore year, you knew zero shot he touches a college campus.
No. And then as a junior, like, oh, okay, he has a chance to be what he's become. And kind of, so as I defined special, there was a progression of special, but as a eighth grader and as a freshman, you just knew he played the game and could see the game in unorthodox fashion that was much different than not just people his age, but everyone. And frankly, the thing that would separate him right away was his ability to pass and really play make. The same thing he does now, but he could do that at 14 years old, really understand the game and play make in a way that was just different. I always tell people, they talk about, LeBron playmaking and making the right play, and over his whole career, he's always been talked. Sometimes he goes and gets the bucket, a lot of times, more than anyone else we've seen. And sometimes he makes the right play if he's trapped. We were in the regional final my senior year. He was a freshman. And I was the only senior, the leader of the team. We're up against a very tough team called Villa Angela St. Joe's out of Cleveland, who's a well-known team. They're one of those Catholic schools. They've been good. Clark Kellogg went there.
Gotcha.
They've been good since the 70s, competing for state titles. So we're up against them, and they're a great team. And the winner of this goes downstate to play in the Final Four. And I fouled out of the game, and the game was back and forth. I mean, literally, I don't think there was a lead ever in the game bigger than 4 or 5 points throughout the whole game. It was sold out gym, 6,000 people there, 7,000 people in the gym. Wow. Going back and forth. 2 plays that really saved the game for us. I foul out. We've been pressing the whole game. We pressed the whole game. But they had this point guard who was super speedy and good named Jason Hicks. His brother was actually a really good player, played at Marquette. And he went on to play college. And he was beating our press by himself. What he was doing, that if you do this, you can beat the press. He wasn't passing it to the corner or half court, so we couldn't get a trap.
So you want to trap in the corners, of course.
And he was so fast, we couldn't get a turn on him. He was catch it, 1-2, and then take a sideline, and you can't ever get in front of him to turn him.
Because in a trap, you want to turn. That's where you trap, of course.
The only way to get a trap is a turn or somebody throw it back.
Right.
Then you can trap.
Yes.
So, or somebody throw it to a corner where you can use a sideline. So he was the whole game. But at the end of the game, 2 plays that saved us this game, we would have won it. He missed 2 free throws with about 12 seconds to go that would have put them up 4.
Game over.
But I think to this day, no way to confirm it, he's a good free throw shooter, but his legs were just gone because we had been running him.
Got you.
We had been running his ass the whole game. And then we come back down. LeBron drives. Defense, he goes in, he's going in for a bucket. He's a freshman, 14, he's 15 now. Wow. Defense collapses, he kicks it to a kid named Chad Mraz on our team. Chad nails a 3. We win the game and go to the state tournament. LeBron made that play then. You knew he always would do the right thing like that, and in every situation, and he knew how to do it, and was composed enough to do it at 14, 15. You knew, that he has something different.
So he had the physical ability, and then you have that. It's like, he makes the right play. Like
he can
has
feel
the
it.
potential.
He can feel
to
it.
Be special.
Yes.
So before I get you out of here, I want to bring up a couple of names and just get your initial take on it. The first one is a little project called Space Jam, which you're an executive producer in. Do you realize the magnitude of this, and just what's your overall take on the project and you working on the project?
Yeah, I definitely understand the magnitude of it, but more importantly, I understand what it means for two of our biggest partners in the company, which is LeBron James, obviously, and I understand what it means to him to make something great, and to Warner Brothers, who entrusted us as producers and along with Proximity and Ryan Coogler and his team to make this film. So I get the magnitude of that.
As we pour out the last of this bottle,
Yes,
by
thank
the way.
you. I never intended to drink that much, but the last words of every night I have wine. I never intended to drink this much. Jeez.
We polished off a bottle, brother.
Yeah, that was not the intention.
So Space Jam, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
I do, from those two perspectives, I get the magnitude of it. I also, again, it's another thing I want to accomplish as a company, to make a film this size and make it this great. But it is easy to get lost in the process and not pull back and appreciate it, because the process is very grueling, very hard, very long. This is a movie that doesn't come out still for, we're July 22nd, so 6 days ago, we would have been exactly 2 years from Space Jam.
So you're working on a film that doesn't come out for 2 years.
Till the summer of 2021. So
you're dealing with day-to-day stuff.
Every day.
It doesn't come out for 2 years.
Every day. So I get that, and I want to deliver. For LeBron, I want Warner Brothers to feel good, and for our company, it's important. This is an important one, and it's another one of those accomplishments that's like doing this and making it great. It matters, and it matters to everybody involved, and it matters to people who are going to go watch it, that they feel good and see and take something that they didn't expect, and something entertaining and something powerful. So I do get the magnitude of it, but it's easy to get lost in it, because it's a long window to turn in something great.
Love it. 2 words, this next person, literally one of my favorite people on earth, just recently had a huge announcement. Rich Paul. Talk a little bit about, like, you've been there since the beginning. Like, what's that been like to see his progression, his growth, and with his recent announcement of heading up sports at UTA?
Yeah.
Because let me preface, not to cut you off. We were in LA together. We worked out that morning, actually, when the announcement went public. We went and we had dinner. I've been with you as your partner, your brother, through like birth of a child, through creating businesses, through big deals being. I may never have seen you prouder than you were of Rich, like in that moment. Like, talk a little bit about that, like what that's meant to you, his growth.
Yeah, just personally, Rich as a friend and a brother, was personally happy for him as an individual, that he set out to do something, put his head down, put every ounce of energy he had into it, really, sometimes ruthlessly, only gave a fuck about what was right for his clients and in turn right for his company, sometimes at the sacrifice of relationships, sometimes at the price of getting on everybody's fucking nerves, frankly, my nerves, anybody's nerves, with being an agent. But he's an agent, and he really, in 2012, he decided he was going to go on his own and really become an agent and do his thing. And he did it. And it paid off for him. So I was very happy for him as an entrepreneur and as a business builder and as an agent to get that accomplishment. And now, again, as I say, it's the facts. Like, now he just gets a chance to do something bigger. And I'm sure he will do it. I'm confident he will. But it really shows you, Rich was pretty ruthless about what's right for his clients and building that. A lot of this shit I don't always agree with, but the truth is he doesn't give a fuck.
And even at his own expense sometimes, right? Like, he's client first, whatever's best for his guys, and he'll take the bullets.
Yep. And so I appreciated that part. That's what I was most proud about. I knew he was capable of doing whatever he wants, but I was proud that he did it and pulled it off in a major way.
So 2 more things, and we'll get out of here. For that kid or that group of kids, I'm old as shit, I'm washed, so like I call everyone kids, but for that group of guys that's listening or watching this show right now, that's trying to figure it out, that has big dreams, that's saying, hey, we're going to start our own thing, we're going to do this thing, we're going to support each other. What advice do you give to those 4, 5, 19, 20-year-old kids that are trying to figure it out and are going to take a leap of faith and start their own thing? What advice does Maverick Carter in 2019 give that group of guys?
The advice I could give them is, from the outset, be as honest as possible what they can with each other. Because what can quickly happen is 2 people want to do this, one person wants to do this, another person has this, but they have this common thing, but they also have other interests. They need to share all of those, because you don't want to wake up one day and go, hey, I thought he was only focused on this, but now he's doing that. Or I thought she was going to be with us every day, but now she's... So you have to be very open and honest with each other that we have the same vision for whatever they're building. But also, hey, just so you guys know, I have some individual shit I want to accomplish too. Now, I'm saying that in hindsight, that's not necessarily what we did, but I'm telling you, that will save a lot of time, energy, and effort, or things that come up if you're very open and honest, most importantly with each other at the outset, put every agenda on the table. Hey, I want to be rich. I want to make a lot of money. Hey, I want to one day move this company to New York because I have dreams of living in New York. Hey, I want to move to Houston one day, so I think we should be in Houston. Hey, like every agenda you can, because that will set them up to, most importantly, stick together and be together. And if those things change, also make each other aware of those things, because that's the most important part, is like making sure we don't all have to be on the same page with everyone's agenda, but I'm clear about what everybody's agendas are. So there's no hidden ones, because they will surface eventually. I mean, it's just impossible. It's just a matter of time when they do. So when you lay them out all at the beginning, it gives you the best chance to succeed.
Love it. So my last question for you before we get up out of here is, we're going to take a trip on a time machine. And 30 years from now, I'm washed now, so I can't even imagine if I'm fortunate enough to still be here 30 years from now. 30 years from now, we're in electric wheelchairs, God willing, on a boat somewhere, drinking great wine like we are today for this show. What does Maverick Carter look back on his career and is proud of? Like, what is success for you? What do you look back on your career 30 years from now and say, man, I did it?
If everything that we create, be it a product, be it a movie, be it a TV show, piece of content, an event, one person that interfaced with everything that our company created, just one, not everybody has to fill it. If one person really left that event got that sneaker, saw that documentary, and truly felt empowered. If that happens, then I'm fine with it. If they really felt like they got something from it that will help them go do everything they want to do and dream about, then I feel like our company did the right thing.
My brother, I'm going to toast to you now.
Cheers.
And hopefully in 30 years we're toasting. It's a
Cheers.
more fun one. Appreciate you being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Maverick Carter, the Paul Rivera Podcast. Thanks for listening. Peace.